you're tired of sending cold DMs and getting ignored, you're not alone. Cold outreach is dying. It's getting harder and harder to do. And often, all that you're doing with it is you're annoying the people that you're trying to do business with. But what if you could flip the script, where instead of you chasing clients, you get them to raise their hand and say, do you know what, that sounds like something I'd be interested in. Then you can warm DM them and get more sales. In this video, I'm going to run you through a simple, low-cost system that we use to get people to raise their hand so that we can follow up with them one-to-one and make some more sales. The strategy I'm going to run you through is something called spearfishing with dynamite. We use something called spearfishing to make sales in communities, but this is taking it to the next level and reaching more people. First, let's look at what you're doing wrong with cold DMs, right? So we've all done it. I get like maybe a dozen a day of cold messages through email, through Facebook Messenger, through LinkedIn cold messages. And 9 times out of 10, in that first sentence where it's hello, sir, madam, or they'll come out with some crappy pitch, I'm ignoring it because it's intrusive. I'm here doing my thing and I'm getting cold calls, I'm getting cold messages. I don't have time to deal with this stuff. No one likes getting a message from a stranger that is an obvious sales pitch, right? It just doesn't happen that way. It's inefficient. When you see people doing this and they're like, oh, I'm like a cold DM master. They're like, oh yeah, so we send 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 messages per day and we close 4 clients per week. And it's, hold on, what kind of rates are those? It's really bad. And if you're having to pay to do all of that, the payback on that is terrible. Like in terms of the profit margins, it's awful. And it doesn't scale. Or more accurately, it can scale, but it's very difficult to do. If you're doing it manually, you're going to need to hire other people to do it. If you're using a system, if you're doing cold emails, you're going to have to spin up multiple domains, multiple email accounts, have those warmed up. Each one can only send a small number per day. It becomes very difficult to actually do cold messaging and cold DM at scale. Now, some people have already moved to spearfishing, which is a strategy that we teach in the $1 product challenge. You can get that by clicking in the link in the description. And basically what the $1 product challenge is, you go into a community, and let's just call this a Facebook group. Other places where I've used this was Facebook groups. I've used it on Reddit. I've used it on Slack channels. I've used it in private, like school and circle communities. And basically you go into these places and you create a 100% value post. Okay, a value post. However, this value post isn't just here's how to do a thing. It demonstrates your expertise and also the results, the transformation that they want, the results that you can get. What you do is you then post this in those groups, and what will happen is anybody who likes or comments, let's do a boop, that's the old speech bubble. Anybody who likes or comments on this is basically saying, hey, that's a cool thing. I'm interested in this. Okay. So let's use an example and say that you are a personal trainer and that you've just done a post on how you help somebody lose 15 pounds, working out only 30 minutes per day from the comfort of their own home. And you want to go into this group, you're like, look, this is how I helped Julie lose 15 pounds in 30 minutes a day over 3 months. And the reason this works is because A, B, C, and that's what you need to know. What will happen then is all of these people who are liking are like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Generally speaking, a lot of those people who like will be thinking, that's cool, I wish I could do something like that. You'll see a lot of people come, that's so cool, can you give us some more details? These are basically, in my opinion, a digital hand raise. They're like, I'm interested in learning more about this. So what I'll do is I'll go through to each of these 2 groups of people and I will DM. Then I'll say, hey, thanks so much for engaging with the post. Really appreciate it. Hope it was useful. If you've got any questions about it, let me know. And you continue with value. And eventually the people who are open to being sold to will be like, so how does this work? What you'll also find is that some people won't even like and comment. They'll just DM you straight away. Hey, I saw what you did for this person over here. How do you work with people? And I use this and it cost me $0 and I made $4,069 in 10 days by doing this. In a community where I had no reputation, nothing. I just had a $1 product to sell. So that's what we've been doing with a lot of people to get out of the cold DMing. The problem with spearfishing is that it doesn't really scale, right? It can, but it becomes very difficult for you to basically write the posts, find the communities, follow up, all of this stuff. The difficult bit really is once you've found a community, you can't just keep going in every single day and writing the same kind of promotional stuff. You can go in every couple of days, once a week, whatever, but eventually people are going to get wise and get annoyed of you. So it becomes difficult to actually scale this thing. So how do you scale it? And that's something that we've been working on. And one thing that we've been doing, Been trying this on YouTube and on Facebook as well. And basically what we've been doing is with $5 a day, we've been amplifying this to crazy levels. Okay. So what we do is we do the same approach. We create a value post, and this could be a written post if you're using something like LinkedIn. It could be a video if you're using YouTube. It could be a video on Facebook, or written post on Facebook, a video post on Insta, this kind of thing. But it has to do the same kind of thing as spearfishing, where you create some value, you demonstrate your expertise, and you show that you can get the results that this person is looking for. What we then do is we publish it and then we boost it. This goes against my own philosophy of running ads. Like, I want to get a quick return. But what we're doing here is we're boosting it. And because we're using ads, we can pick a specific audience and we can track things far clearer, because we're saying show this to these kind of people. So you can start to get in front of your ideal customers much, much faster by doing this. $5 a day. And what I should mention here is that we use an engagement campaign. And depending on the platform, that might be comments or likes type thing. And that might also be views. For YouTube, you want people who are going to view the video, depending on the platform. Basically, you want to pick what would class as an engagement for that platform that would be almost like a signifier of them holding up their hand and be like, yes, this is interesting to me. Now, once you boost it, what you'll do is you'll start to grow an audience of people who have expressed some kind of interest in what you're doing. And over time, that audience size will grow. But of course, how do you actually sell to these people? Because you've just created something that is getting engagement. Two ways, depending on the platform. If you're using something like Facebook or LinkedIn, you can manually go through and reach out with a warm DM to everybody who's liked and commented on that post to say, hey, great, really enjoyed this. Sorry, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Would love to speak to you about how this might be able to help you. And then you segue that into a sales conversation. If it's on YouTube, it's a little more difficult. But what you can do is you can set up a retargeting audience, and basically I would then push them through to a $1 product. So an ad for those people, because there's no way to cold DM people on YouTube and stuff. But I would retarget people who've watched this to go to a $1 product. You can also still set up with these platforms retargeting ads to go through to your low ticket offer. And you'll likely get more engagement here as long as you've got a big enough audience that have engaged at this stage, because they know you, they like you, they've seen you, like, oh, this is the person who did that really valuable post and really helped me understand this thing. Oh, they've got a product that's going to help me implement that solution. Marvelous. So really it's about getting people to digitally raise their hand through an action, whether that's a watch, an engagement, something like this. Those are people who are likely more interested in what you have to offer. And so then, rather than spreading this massive net to try and reach 100,000 people, what you've done is you've created a simple solution to get people to raise their hand, and then you go after those. So it's not casting the big net, you're spearfishing. You're saying, right, you're interested, I'm going to go after you, I'm going to go after you, I'm going to go after you. And once you've done that, you get much better results. Reason this is spearfishing with dynamite is the ads just massively amplify the reach that you get to get people to raise their hands. It puts this on a cheat code. So essentially, that is what spearfishing with dynamite is. It's the same approach. You create a value post, you publish that on a platform, you boost that to a specific audience that you know. If you're, depending on the offer, use the targeting options within the ad platform to make sure that the right people see it, grow that audience, and then retarget that audience either manually by reaching out to them directly. Hey, thanks, really appreciate you liking that post, commenting on that post, or set up a retargeting audience. The key thing here is that this value post has to do one of three things for them. It has to help them overcome some sort of a problem, has to entertain them, or it has to help them change their mind and see things through a new lens. So you have to provide some sort of insight where it gives them that little eureka moment. So it's not necessarily helping them overcome the problem, but it's helping them view the problem in a new way. Now, you don't want to give away the full solution. You don't want to give them like the full 1, 2, 3, here's how to do it, go here, click this, go there, do that. That's what the $1 product's for. And if you give all of that away, they have no reason to pay you. This is what I've found works really well. I've used this to sell a lot of stuff for free with regular spearfishing, like I mentioned up here. And like I said, spearfishing on its own can really help you, but by putting a little bit of money behind the ads, you are able to cut out the manual grind of having to go after, write these posts, come up with new ideas, all of this sort of stuff. One can get you far greater results. And if you do the retargeting ads, you can then also cut out the grind of having to manually follow up with each person. The real reason this works is that because you're no longer spamming people. Like, it's a warm intro. They know you now, they like you, they've seen your stuff, they've engaged with it. So you're not just a complete stranger coming off the street like, hey, buy my thing. They've expressed some sort of interest, which means they're going to be more receptive to whatever it is that you have to pitch and to chatting to you. It's all about leveraging the intent. You're talking to people who have already engaged, which makes the sale so much easier. If you want the full playbook on this strategy, how to set it up, templates, scripts, all of this sort of stuff, join us in Growth Models Plus. There's a link below this video. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. But just remember, cold DMs are getting harder and harder because everyone's doing them. The best thing to do now is to get away from cold outreach and to actually look at warm outreach. How can you get that initial touch point? Ads will get you in front of your ideal customers because you can target them perfectly. And from there, you can follow up to have a warm outreach, which is way more likely to actually help you make a sale. If you got value from this, please subscribe, drop a comment, do all of that stuff that helps out. I want to try and help as many people as I can this year, and so that would be really useful. But anything else, just let me know.